Dante Williams, you watching
Dante's
Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation. Dante's Boxing Nation. Dante's Boxing Nation. Dante's Boxing Nation.
For you now, you know, if you say it's your last fight, do you start getting flashbacks and thinking about this is the last time I'm going to do this?
No, I don't worry about that. I've done this my whole career, so you know I don't really focus on that.
Hey Floyd, you look at this media turnout. This is pretty big. For the people who criticize this fight, is this an indication that more people want to see this fight than some fans say?
I stay on the positive path. I don't focus on that. Brother, it don't matter who I fight, they're going to have something to say.
Hey, Manny Pacquiao, he told you before the fight, after the fight, he wanted to sit down and talk to you about God. Did he ever set that appointment up with you?
I heard, from what I hear, that he's, I guess, a certain type of water, salt water.
Yeah.
I mean, he healed his arm, but, it is what it is.
Floyd, would you compare Andre Berto to anybody you faced before?
I can't say. I just know he's a very exciting fighter. And every time he go out there, he gives it 100%.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Just got done watching another episode of All Access, Mayweather versus Berto, episode 2. But before I give my review, let me go ahead and give shots out to my man, Thomas Hill, an undefeated prospect. Matter of fact, one of the best prospects at the Mayweather gym. He was rocking the DBN shirt on this episode, so of course we got to give him shots out. Matter of fact, shots out to everybody out here in Vegas, especially the Mayweather gym, because everyone has been rocking the DBN shirt, so I appreciate you guys. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about this episode. There was a lot of things that I liked about episode 1 and episode 2, but what I really liked about episode 2 is the fact that you could see this rags to riches, this Cinderella man type of story when it comes to Andre Berto. Andre Berto, a guy who, he made decent money before, but fighting against Floyd Mayweather and making $4 million. And let's face it, was he more deserving than anyone else? Of course not. But that's what makes this such a rags to riches story for Andre Berto, right? You see him in front of at the ESPN studios, and he's in awe. He's acting like a guy who's never been on TV before because he's never done SportsCenter. He's never been on ESPN. And once again, it's just great to see someone like Andre Berto get this opportunity. I like the fact that All Access, they told the story of Berto versus Carras, where if you guys don't know how people with real shoulder injuries react when they're injured in the ring, all you have to do is watch this episode of All Access. Because All Access, they did a great job of showing exactly when Berto hurt his shoulder. And from that point on, that Berto injured himself, Andre Berto was fighting with one arm, right? He wasn't throwing his right hand over and over and over again. No, he was fighting with one arm, right? And then in the last round, he ended up getting caught while he was fighting with one arm, and they stopped the fight. Now, of course, in contrast of Manny Pacquiao, and we have to bring it up, we all know that when Manny Pacquiao said he injured his shoulder, Manny Pacquiao was actually throwing his right hand the entire night. Never did Manny Pacquiao grimace. Never did Manny Pacquiao go back to his corner and talk to Freddie Roach. Never did they have this type of pep talk where we seen Virgil Hunter telling Andre Berto, well, you're going to have to beat him with one hand, right? We never heard Freddie Roach say any of this. And of course, we know about, Manny Pacquiao. Then, first he was injured before the fight. Then when he got sued, he said, you know what, I changed my mind. Actually, I was injured during the fight, right? Then he talked about rehab. We know the story. Then he said he never went to rehab. Then swimming in the ocean and salt water actually, and God, okay, I can't forget about God, then God healed his shoulder. Let's go ahead and move on. So yeah, you know, this episode was great. You had Floyd Mayweather sparring in a media workout, something that I don't think any fighter has ever done. Don't quote me on that, but I don't recall any fighter ever doing a full sparring session for his media workout, right? Floyd Mayweather did it. We got to see highlights of other people sparring in the gym. Overall, this was a really, really good episode of All Access. It does a great job of selling the fight. I'm gonna tell you guys, I still would have preferred, excuse me, to watch this fight on free TV. But see, once again, you know, I don't know how, you know, the businesses ran. I don't know if, you know, everyone could have got paid the same, but I know that if this fight would have been on CBS, this fight would have probably did at least, at a minimum, it probably would have did about 8 million views. Floyd Mayweather, the biggest star, the biggest athlete in all sports, his final fight, and he's fighting on free TV. That would have been huge. That would have been huge. But nevertheless, the fight is on pay-per-view. I don't know how the pay-per-view numbers are going to look. We all know that Floyd Mayweather, he's pretty much guaranteed, I believe, at least $35 million for every single fight that he has on Showtime, under this contract at least. So, you know, whatever the pay-per-view numbers, we know Floyd Mayweather is going to get paid a hell of a chunk. And the $35 million, that doesn't even include, you know, the pay-per-view and the ticket sales and all that stuff that Floyd Mayweather also gets a piece of. You know what amazes me? How people criticize the fact that this is Floyd Mayweather's last fight and he's fighting against Andre Berto. The fact that we all know what type of resume that Floyd Mayweather has. The fact that Floyd Mayweather, he actually said it in this episode himself. He said that he has beat more champions than any other fighter in the history of the sport. That includes Sugar Ray Robinson, a guy who had over 100 fights, right? Floyd Mayweather has beat more champions than Sugar Ray Robinson. If Golovkin can fight Willie Monroe, if he can fight Marco Antonio Rubio and be age 34, and his best competition at age 34 is Martin Murray and Willie Monroe. We're talking about before the Lemieux. Now you could say his best competition is Martin Murray, Willie Monroe, and David Lemieux, which is a good fight, by the way. But if that's his best competition, can you guys imagine if Floyd Mayweather's best competition at age 38 was Willie Monroe, Marco Antonio Rubio, and David Lemieux? Oh yeah, and Martin Murray. Can you guys imagine if that was Floyd Mayweather's best competition? If people are criticizing him for fighting Andre Berto after he's already faced the Diego Corraleses, the Canelos, the Cottos, etc., etc., just imagine if Floyd Mayweather were to fight the type of competition that Gennady Golovkin is facing, right? Now, and that's not to say that Golovkin isn't trying to step up and fight better competition, because he's trying to fight the Cotto Canelo winner, but unfortunately, those guys are fighting at a smaller weight class. Cotto Canelo, they're fighting at a catch weight at 155. They're not fighting at 160. So that would be a great fight, and I would love to see the winner fight Golovkin, but yet and still, we're not really seeing, you know, this type of undefeated versus undefeated type of fighter when it comes to Golovkin. We've never really seen that Mayweather versus Diego Corrales type of fight with Golovkin. We've never seen the Mayweather versus Canelo, the Guillermo Rigo versus Donaire, the Andre Ward versus Carl Froch. We haven't seen that yet with Gennady Golovkin, all right? So the fact that Floyd Mayweather is fighting against Andre Berto and people are criticizing it, it doesn't make sense, and it doesn't make sense for many reasons. Another reason it doesn't make sense is because when Manny Pacquiao fought against Brandon Rios, you know what the fans were saying? The fans were saying, yeah, but this is going to be an exciting fight. He's fighting against a Mexican fighter, a Mexican warrior, and this is going to be an entertaining, exciting fight, right? It's going to be fireworks, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. Now see, when Floyd Mayweather fought against Manny Pacquiao, the fight that the whole world was demanding for years, as soon as they got the fight, and the results weren't what they wanted the results to be, which is for Manny Pacquiao to have his hand raised, now all of a sudden they say they don't like the fight. The fight was boring. But wait a minute. Now you're telling us that it's more important for the fight to be exciting and entertaining as opposed to finding out who's the best fighter of our generation, right? Well, if that's the case, then why don't you love this Mayweather versus Berto fight, right? Because we know this fight is going to be entertaining. We know that Andre Berto is the type of fighter that either knocks you out or he gets knocked out. He's either knocking you down or he's getting knocked down, right? Flaws is what creates excitement in the sport of boxing. But see, I hate when people try to speak for everyone. To me, that's politics. You know, Joe Tessitore, who I lost a lot of respect for, I didn't realize that he was such a decaf until the other day. I finally got to watch, Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas call the Leo Santa Cruz versus Mares fight. You guys don't complain when Joe Tessitore is bringing up the Mayweather fight just to discredit him. You see, you don't care when Mayweather's name is brought up when it's in a negative way, right? But let somebody bring up Floyd Mayweather's name to expose a double standard, then you guys have a problem. Joe Tessitore is sitting over here comparing Leo Santa Cruz against Mares to Mayweather versus Pacquiao? How do you even compare the two? You can't even compare the two. Even when the exciting Brandon Rios fought against Manny Pacquiao, even Brandon Rios was fighting like a reluctant fighter. He was in there thinking. He was in there making it more of a chess match. Why? Because Brandon Rios was thinking about not getting knocked out. Okay? So imagine if Leo Santa Cruz was in there with Manny Pacquiao. If Leo Santa Cruz was in there with Floyd Mayweather. If Abner Mares was in there with Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather. Styles make fights, right? You can't sit over here and compare Leo Santa Cruz to Abner Mares versus two of the best fighters of our generation. Manny Pacquiao is an 8-time division champion, right? Some people even voted him as fighter of the decade, which I don't agree with, but I do believe and I do agree that Manny Pacquiao is one of the best fighters of our generation. Manny Pacquiao accomplished a lot, coming up in the rankings, beating greats like Barrera and Morales, and his 4 fights with Marquez, etc., etc. The point that I'm making is you cannot compare the two. You guys can't have it both ways, okay? Don't sit over here and tell me that the Manny Pacquiao Mayweather fight was boring, but then when Mayweather is going to fight someone who's going to be exciting and it's going to create an exciting fight, because we know Mayweather is going for the knockout. We know Andre Berto is going for the knockout. 2 fighters going for the knockout. 1 fighter doesn't have the greatest defense. That creates a great fight. You can't have it both ways, guys. You cannot sit over here and tell me excitement is more important than who the best is. But then when there's an exciting fight that's going to happen on September 12th, now all of a sudden you criticize it. And I want to say this because, like I said, going back to Joe Tessitore, you have a lot of people out there, a lot of decafs, they try to speak for other people. Why don't you just say, me personally, I wasn't too crazy about the Mayweather fight, the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. Don't I'm trying to speak for everyone and saying, oh, this is so much better. There's more action in the first 2 rounds than there was in that whole Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. Let me tell you something. You speaking for yourself, you're not speaking for me. You need to speak for yourself. Because what's more important to me, and I believe the majority of boxing fans, regardless if they want to admit it or not, we wanted to see Mayweather versus Pacquiao. Everybody knew how Mayweather fought. Everybody knew how Pacquiao fought. Nobody said, I don't want to watch that fight because Mayweather is going to make it boring. Nobody said that in the last 5 years. What did they say? They said Mayweather was scared of Manny Pacquiao. Mayweather needs to fight Manny Pacquiao for his legacy. If you're going to call yourself TBE, you got to fight Manny Pacquiao, right? This is what they said. They didn't care if the fight was going to be boring or not. Only thing they cared about is Manny Pacquiao possibly beating a guy that they didn't like. Now all of a sudden, soon as Floyd Mayweather gives these fans what they want, now they want to say, oh, I didn't like the fight. Which is code words for, I am so pissed off that that bastard on the coincidental list won the fight. That's what they're really trying to say. I love to watch Mares versus Santa Cruz type of fights. But the most important thing for me, what I love the most, is finding out who is the best. Why do you think more people watch the Super Bowl than any other game in the season? Because we get to find out who the best is, right? That's why the World Series is the biggest game. That's why the NBA Finals is the biggest game. That's why the gold medal match in the Olympics is the biggest event in the Olympics, right? So all these double standards, they don't really make any sense. And at the end of the day, the truth always breaks free. Because when it really comes down to it, everything you asked Floyd Mayweather for, he gave it to you decafs, and you still found a reason to discredit him. Because this was never really about this guy giving you what you wanted. This was about you finding a reason to continue hating the man. Right? I picked Abner Mares to beat Leo Santa Cruz. But when Leo Santa Cruz beat him, I didn't hate on Leo Santa Cruz. I didn't say that bitch got lucky and he's still a pussy and he still won't fight Rigo. Fight Rigo, you bastard, you pussy. I didn't say nothing like that. If you go back and you watch the tape, the video that I did, I praised Leo Santa Cruz. I said, man, I didn't know that he knew how to box a little bit. You know, he took advantage of his reach. He surprised me. He was using a check hook in there. I praised the man. See, but when it comes to people that are filled with hate, they're not looking for anything positive to say. Because their heart is filled with hate. And we're not talking about just little small hating on people. We're talking about real hate. Okay? We're talking about demonic type of hate. So anyway, this was a good episode of All Access. They did a wonderful job promoting the fight. Once again, I don't know how big the fight is going to be. All I know is Floyd Mayweather is going to get paid well. I know Andre Berto is going to get paid well. And I truly believe that at the end of the day, Floyd Mayweather, he was looking to pick someone. Let's do that again. All I know, this is how I truly feel, or this is what I truly believe, I should say. I truly believe, for whatever reason, Floyd Mayweather, he wanted to make Andre Berto's day. He wanted to turn Andre Berto into Cinderella Man. The only difference is this story ain't gonna end like the story ended in Cinderella Man. Okay? But at the same time, Andre Berto, he still has a rags to riches story. He's in a win-win situation no matter what happens. He's not expected to win this fight, but he gets to cash a $4 million check. And he'll most likely be set for the rest of his life if he manages his damn money right. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.